Hi guys, in this video we are going to discuss about variables in C++ programming language. Variables is a very important topic and in this particular video first we will discuss what are variables, then we will discuss how to create the variables, and then we are going to discuss about the different types of variables available in C++ programming. So let's start this video. The topic for discussion is C++ programming. C++, so it's not C++ variables. C++ variables. So first, let's understand the basic definition of the C++ variable. So the definition says that variables variables are container container to store data values. So this is a basic definition that variables are the containers to store the data values. So let me explain you this definition. So first, let's consider I am having a value 5. Now, if I'm having a value 5 and I want to use this value, I want to use this number. So for that, I need to store this number somewhere. I need to somewhere store this number. And where I'm basically the place where I'm storing that number is called as a variable. Okay? I will simply define a variable with a name, and using that name, inside this name, I am assigning this value. So the place at which I am assigning this value, it is called as a variable. Let's understand the syntax for this. Syntax syntax of defining a variable. So first, I will simply write the type of variable I want to declare. Type, what kind of variable I want to declare. It is an integer type. I will explain you the type. So first, I will define the syntax. Inside syntax, first I will define the type. Then I will define the name of the variable. Variable name. Okay. And after that, I will assign the value. This is called as assignment operator. I will assign the value whatever. Let's consider I am having a 5 value. So after that, I will basically assign this particular 5 value to the name of the variable. Okay, so this is a syntax. Now let's first understand this particular type. This type can be of different types. So let's understand this. The variables can be of different type. So in C++, there are different type of variable. There are different type of variable. Okay, first is a integer type. First is of integer type. Int type means inside this you want to store a integer value. It is used to store a integer value, like without decimal places. To store value without decimal place. Without decimal place. Like example can be 1, 1000, 1333, 12, 22. Okay, so these are the examples. Basically, if your number is not having any decimal place means like this 10.22. So this is a decimal value. So this is a decimal place. If your number is not having any kind of decimal value, then you can store that number inside the type int. So this is the first type. This is our first type. Okay. Then the second type is of float, and third is double. So float and double both are used to store the data of decimal places, data value with decimal places, to store value with decimal places, with decimal place. Okay, and double is also used to store value with decimal place. But the only difference is in the memory size. Okay, so float, inside the float you can only store the decimal up to the 7 places. That means 19 point and then up to 7 places, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, if you are having this like 1 2 3 4 5 6, so these are up to 7 places. But in case of double, the size which the double can store is double as compared to float. So inside in double, you can store the data up to 15 decimal places, like 19.211. In the similar way, you can store the data up to the 15 decimal places in double. In case of double, you can store the data up to 15, but in case of float, you can store the data up to 7 decimal places. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the float and the double, and both are used to store the data with the decimal places. Now the another type is the character type. Third or fourth type is of character type. Character means inside the character you can store a single character. Inside character is used to store single character. Single character, like can be A, can be small a, I. So in this way, if you want to store a single character, then you can use a character type. Then the fifth is of string type. The string is used to store a text. It is used to store a text, to store a text value, or you can say a word like hello world, hello world. So something you are writing inside the double quotes, it is called as a string. But it is a, you can say it is a combination of the characters. In case of character, you can only store a single word, you can only store a single letter, but in case of string, you can store the combination of the characters. We are having the multiple characters. Whenever you want to store the multiple characters, you will be using double quotes, and inside double quotes you will be writing the combination of the characters, and the type of the data will be the string type. Then sixth is boolean type. Boolean type, boolean is used to store data in two format, that is, it will to store values with two state, value to store value with two state. That means either it can be true or it can be false. There are only two possibilities. If you want to store the data in format of true and false, then the type will be the boolean type. Okay, so in this syntax, this particular type is basically defining all these types. Whatever the data you want to store, you will basically write the name, or you will write the that particular type over here at this place. Okay, then the name of the variable can be anything, and whatever the value you want to store, you will write over here. Okay, so let's do the practical implementation for this, so that you can get the better understanding. So here I'm writing a new, I'm creating a new file, that is variables.cpp. Okay, inside this I'm writing a program from the starting, like hashtag include iostream, and then using namespace standard, and then int main. And inside this I'm defining a variable. So I already told you the syntax for defining a variable. So here I'm declaring a variable, and this is called as a comment, we have already have discussed. So syntax is for defining variable. First you need to define a type, then you will define a name of the variable name, and then you will use the assignment operator, and then you will assign a value, whatever the value you want to store. So this is the syntax. So I want to store the data of the integer type. Then I want the name of the variable is like my num. Name of the variable is my num, and inside this I want to store the value as 10. Okay, so this variable is created. The name of the variable is my num, which is storing a value. The value is 10. Okay, now if I want to print, I can use a cout statement, and inside this my num, and then I want to use ender. Okay, let's execute this program. Let's implement this program, and we are getting the output as 10 because this mynum variable is storing the value as 10. So in this way, you can create a variable and you can print the variable. So this is the first method. Now, if you want, you can declare a variable in this way also. Like I'm declaring a variable my num2, but this time I am not assigning any value. In this line, I have declared the variable. Along with that, I also have assigned the value 10. But in this line, on line number 10, I have declared the variable, but I have not assigned the variable. So if in case I will do the cout and let's first assign the value. So I in my num2, I am assigning a value as 90. Then I am doing a cout statement and then my num2, and then I want a line break. Okay, so let's execute this again. So this time I'm getting 10 and 90 as the output. Okay. So my num is storing the 10 value. That's the reason I'm getting 10 as the output of the line number 8. And for the line number 12, I'm getting the output as 90 because my num2 is storing the value as 90. So in this way, you can store the value at the time of the declaration, or you can also store the value after declaring that particular variable. So now we have discussed the variable can be of different type. It can be of int type, it can be of float type, double character, string, boot. So let's declare all these in VS Code. Let's declare all these. So we already have declared int type. Let me erase all this. Now, first I am defining the variable of integer type. The name is my num, which is storing a value 10. Then I'm defining a variable of double type. The name of the variable is my double num, which is storing the value. I told you that double always store the value in the decimal points like 10.888. It can store the data up to the 15 decimal places. Then I'm using a character and my letter, which is of okay. Then I am defining the another type, that is a string, and string is storing my text. This is the name of the variable, and inside this I am typing hello world. Then boolean type and my bool, and it is storing a true value. Okay. Now if I want to print everything, so I will use cout int, not int, the name of the variable my num. Then I want to store, I can simply print all the variables in a single line also by using this operator again and again. So first I want to print my num, then I want to print, I want a line break. Okay. Then I want, simply I want to end this line. Let's print the data in the multiple lines. And then I am using cout statement. Then I want to print my double num, and then again and l, and l, and again I want to print my letter, and again I want a line break. Again I want to print character, want to print my text. Then I want a line break. Then I want to print my boolean, and I want a line break. Okay, let's execute this. I'm getting an error over there. Let's try to figure out the error. What error I'm getting? I'm getting operator int and function. Let me, I think this error is related to this thing. For now, instead of figuring out what error we are getting, simply remove OK. I'm getting the error due to this. I have not used this thing. Let me execute this again. So this time the program is getting correctly executed and I'm getting the output. So first I'm getting 10 because my num is storing the 10 value on the for the line number 12 I am getting 10. For the line number 13 I am getting 10.2899. For the line number 14 I am getting s and then hello world then 1. 1 I am getting because this true. True means always 1. True means in programming true means 1 and false means 0. If I will change this data from true to false, I will get the 0 as the output. Instead of 1, I will get the 0 as the output. Let's execute this. This time I'm getting 0 as the output because in false, Boolean always store the data in form of 0 or 1. Okay, so if I'm storing false, that means 0. If I'm storing true, that means a, a 1 value. Okay, so let me first comment all this. We are done with this. So let me first comment this. And now I want to simply write a program for the summation of two numbers. So I am write a program for addition of two numbers, two variables. Okay. So in this here I am storing a data of int type, x is storing 10 and int y is storing 20. I have declared the two variable. First variable is storing the 10 value, another variable is storing the 20 value. Then I want to print the summation of x plus y, and then I want line break. Let's execute this. So I'm getting 30 as the output. If I want, I can also add a print statement over here. Like first I want to print that addition of x and y, and then this statement, basically I'm writing the multiple print statement in a single line. So first I want to print this addition of x and y, and then I want to print the summation, and then I want a line break. So first I'm getting addition of x and y is 30. So first I'm getting this line printing on the output screen, then whatever the summation we are storing inside x and y, and then a line break. So this time addition of x and y is 30. So in this way you can define a variable. Now let's define how we can let's discuss how we can declare the multiple variables. Let's consider I want to declare a multiple variables. Declaring a multiple variables. Next thing is declare many variable. Many variable. If I want to define a multiple variable, then what I will do, I will simply use, let's consider I want to define multiple variable and all variables are of same type. All variable are of integer type. So what I will do, I will simply write a type over here. That means int. Erase this. I will write a type. Okay. Erase this again. I will write a type that is int. And then I'm having a multiple variable like x equal to 5, comma, y equal to 6, and z equal to 10. And all those variables like x, y, and z, all these variables are of integer type. Okay. If I'm having a single value, if I'm having a multiple value and all those values are of the same type, then I can define a data in this particular manner. And then I can also do the print. Let's implement this. Let me first comment all this. And then from the line number 23, number 25, I am declaring a variable of I am declaring a multiple variable, all of the int type x equal to 10, comma, and I need to separate all those variables using the comma. X equal to 10, comma, y equal to 20, z equal to 30, then this semicolon sign, and then I want to print x, then I want a line break, then I want to print y, then I again want a line break, then I want to print z, I want to print z, and then again I want a line break. Okay. So first it will print X, then it will execute a line break, then print Y, then Z. Okay. So first I'm getting 10, then I'm getting a line break because of this AND manipulator. Then 20, then 30. If I will remove this AND, I will get all the output in a single line. Let me first remove this, and then I will get all the output in a single line. I'm getting 10, 20, 30. So in this way, you can declare a multiple variable in a single line. If you want, you can also declare this in this particular way. Basically, in this line number 25, I am declaring a value at the same time, and also I am assigning a values at the same time. But if in case I want to define the multiple variables of the same time like a, comma b, comma c, all are of the int type, and then I want to define different values. I can also assign like a equal to 10, b equal to 20, 23, c equal to 90. So in this way, I can define the multiple variables of the int type, and multiple variables are storing the different value. And if I want to assign the same values, I can also do like a equal to b equal to c equal to 100. So in this way also, all these variables a, comma b, a, b, and c will be assigned with the value 100. And if I will do cout a, b, c, and then a line break, let's print this. So I will be getting the 100 in a single line 3 times. First, okay, so for the line number 26, because I have not executed any line break statement over here, we execute the line break over here. Okay, so this time I'm getting 10, 20, 30 for the line number 26, and then I'm getting 100 3 times because of the line number 31. So in this way, you can define the multiple variables in a single line. Then we have a concept of identifier, C++ identifier. C++ identifier. Identifier. Okay. All C++ variables, all C++ variables must be identified with a unique name. Identified with a unique name. Unique name. Okay. So let's understand this with an example. So whenever you are defining a variable, then at that time you must consider defining the name of the variable in such a way so that you can relate with that particular variable. Example can be, let's consider I want to define a minute per hour, number of minute per hour. I want to show the data of number of minute per hour. So instead of defining m equal to 60, this is not a good approach. I am defining a name of the variable is m. So the user or the another developer will not be able to relate what this m variable is storing. So instead of defining m, I will define the name as minute per hour. In a minute per hour, there are 60 minutes in a hour. So this is a good approach. This is a good approach, and this is also okay. Like you will not get any kind of error in this, but the readability of the code will be much higher in this particular example. Okay. So try to write the variables, try to write the name of the variables so that the other developer can also able to relate with the name of the variables. And there are some general rules of defining the name of the variables. Rules for defining names of variable. Name of variable. There are multiple rules for defining the name of the variable. First rule says names can contain letter. Names can contain letter. Erase this. Can contain it can contain letter. It can contain a digit, and it can also contain a underscore sign like this. Okay. Second rule says that name must begin with a letter or a underscore. Name must begin with a letter or a underscore sign. Like if you are defining a variable name, either it must be like my num, it is a letter my num, or it can also start with an underscore sign like underscore my num. Both are correct. Okay, this is second rule. Then the third rule says names are case sensitive. It is a case sensitive. It is case sensitive. Sensitive. Case sensitive means if you are writing my num, this is your first variable name, and then you are writing another name like first letter is capital. This time my, and this is num. So both are different. This is a different variable. This is a different variable because these names are the case sensitive. Okay, case sensitive means small m and capital M. Both are different. Both are not. Both will not be considered as the same. If you are writing a small I and then you are writing a capital I, so both will be treated as differently. Okay, both are different. Both are not same. So it is called as a case sensitive. Then the fourth property says name cannot contain a white space or a special character. If your the fourth property says cannot contain white space, white space or spatial character or or spatial character. Spatial character means dollar sign, this ampersand sign, or any other kind of special character or exclamation sign. So these you cannot include while declaring the name of the variable. Example can be, let's consider you are defining a variable my, and then you are leaving some space and then you are writing num. So in C++, this will not be considered as a variable name. You will get an error. If you want to define my num, then you can define in this way my num without any space. This is correct, but this is incorrect. In the similar way, you cannot write any special character like my, dollar, exclamation mark, then num. This is also incorrect. This is also incorrect. You are not allowed to use any kind of a special character. Okay. So these are the rules that you must keep in mind while declaring the name of the variables. Then there is a other thing that is called as a C++ constant. C++ constant. Constant means whenever you want to declare some value, which let me write the definition so that you can get the understanding. Let's consider you want to define a variable with unchangeable or read-only data. It is used to define variable with unchangeable with unchangeable or read-only data. Read-only. It is read. It's a read-only data. Read-only data. Example can be, let's consider you want to define a value of pi. So you will say, I want to define a value of pi. It is a floating point number. It is a floating point number float. And then it is a pi. Pi means it will store the 3.14. 3.14 is a default value. But if you want to define is as a constant, so you will write a keyword over here that is a const means if in future you want to change this value, you will not be able to do that. Let me explain you with a program over here. So here, let me first comment this, and then I'm defining a value over here like float, and float is a data type. Then I am defining pi, which is storing 3.14, and then I'm doing the cout pi and ender. After that, I'm changing the value of pi. After that, I'm changing the value of pi. It means pi equal to 5.78, and then I'm again doing the cout, and then pi, and then ender. Let's execute this. Save this again and let's again execute this. So this time, as you can see, for the line number 34, I am getting 3.14 because initially the py is storing a 3.14. But on line number 35, I have changed the data of the pi value from 3.14 to 5.78. That's the reason on line number 26, I am getting the value of pi as 5.78. But if I will define the value as const float, then if I will try to execute this, I will get an error because I am not allowed to change the data of the variable once it is a constant. On line number 33, I have defined a constant value. It is a constant value. Constant value. That's the reason line number 35 is providing me the error because I am not allowed, was not allowed to change the constant value. Okay, so this is a, in this way you can declare a constant value. Whenever you don't want to change the data, you can mark that as a constant. So in this particular video, we discussed multiple things about the variables. We discussed the what are variables, then we discussed about the syntax of the variables, how you can define the variable. Then we discussed about the different types of variables you can declare: int, float, double, character, string, boolean. Then how can you can declare the multiple variables in a single line. Then what are identifiers. Then we discussed about the rules to define a name of the variable. And then in last we discussed about the C++ constant.